Welcome to Indigo TV. You hit the like and subscribe buttons already, yes? Great. Thank you. We hope you enjoy all our video. Please leave a comment. Okay, let's go. You desire knowledge and serenity if you are listening to this video. I'm sure you have listened to many videos seeking these two objects. You may call them by other names, like wisdom and happiness, but they are the same, and anyone seeking wisdom and happiness who finds knowledge and serenity will not be disappointed. Everyone makes you wait until the end of the video to maybe give you some type of answer to your questions. Let's get those answers now. The knowledge solution. You do not need to know the answer to anything, you only need to know where or whom has the answer. Now with your new knowledge you will be able to quickly recognize and find serenity. To do so, change your perspective and you will change everything. Then, quit pushing against the world and the world will quit pushing back. Serenity. You are now on a path with no turning back. At first, it can be difficult because we realize that our entire environment, our family, our friends, are trapped in a cognitive resonance, clinging to limiting beliefs. Since childhood, we have been taught a model of life based on religion, dogmas, and the idea of duality, which leads us to a false perception of existence. And when we question this, when we look for answers beyond the established, many call us crazy, judge us, or simply ignore us. In this video, we will talk about a topic that has been instilled in us with fear, death. We have been led to believe that it is the end of our existence, but in reality, it is only the closing of one cycle to begin another. We will explore how different cultures perceive death, what they offer in return to be rewarded, and how this perspective impacts who we are and how we live. Stay until the end, because this knowledge will change your perspective on everything in life. Quote, "Knowledge is not something that is transmitted, it is something that is remembered." End quote. Plato. The existence of an ancient book, passed down through generations and kept in hidden libraries and monasteries, is mentioned. This book promises to reveal with great clarity what happens after death. The question arises as to why mankind has been obsessed with death, considering it the great universal mystery. It is anticipated that at the end of the video a final and powerful revelation will be presented. The fear of death and the concept of transition. The human fear of death is analyzed, asking whether it is due to the fear of the unknown or to the idea of ceasing to exist. The book suggests that death is not the end, but a transition to another reality. It is argued that this view is not speculative, but based on spiritual, philosophical, and scientific knowledge gathered over the centuries. Various spiritual traditions, Egyptian, mystical Christianity, Hinduism, Buddhism, are mentioned that coincide in the idea that death is only the beginning of a new existence. Light and life review. The concept of the tunnel of light, widely reported in near-death experiences, is introduced. Light is described not only as a visual phenomenon, but as a manifestation of a higher reality. Before reaching the light, the book describes a process of life review. An objective recapitulation of all the acts, thoughts, and emotions experienced is experienced. It is not a condemnatory judgment, but an opportunity to understand the impact of our actions. The possibility of preparing ourselves in life for this moment is raised, taking advantage of existence as a school where death represents graduation. The process of detachment and the intermediate state. After the life review, one enters a state of detachment from the ties with the physical world. The difficulty of some souls to let go of emotional or material attachments is highlighted. The idea of the intermediate state or limbo is introduced, where souls can remain until they are completely detached. The existence of spiritual guides who help in this process is mentioned, which can be deceased loved ones or spiritual teachers. Ascension and the influence of our actions in the afterlife. Once the intermediate state is overcome, many souls experience a sense of peace and elevation of consciousness. However, some souls who carry negative emotions with them may be drawn into a denser reality. It is not described as an eternal punishment, but as a process of learning and healing. It is emphasized that actions, thoughts, and emotions in life shape the post-mortem experience. A key idea is introduced. Reality after death is not imposed by an external force, but created by one's own consciousness. The choice of reincarnation. It is mentioned that, after death, the soul has the possibility of choosing its next destination. A more in-depth discussion of reincarnation is anticipated in the next segments of the video. It reinforces the idea that life and death are deeply connected, and that the way we live influences what we will experience afterwards. Life is a school. Sometimes we don't manage to learn all the lessons in one lifetime. This is one of the key principles of karma, a concept that this book explores in depth. Karma is not an external force that controls us. It is the energy that we create with our actions, thoughts, and emotions, and that follows us from one life to the next. Now, the most surprising thing that this book reveals is that not all souls are obliged to reincarnate. In fact, the decision to return to physical life is a conscious choice. According to the text, after going through the process of life and shedding review, we reach a point where we have enough clarity to decide what we want to do next. Some souls choose to return because they feel they still have lessons to learn, or because they wish to help other souls on their path. Others, however, choose to continue advancing towards higher planes of existence, where learning continues, but in ways that do not involve physical life. The book describes this moment of decision as a state of deep reflection. We are not alone in this process. Our spiritual guides, the same ones who have accompanied us since the moment of our death, are there to help us make the right decision. They don't impose anything on us, they simply show us the possibilities. It's as if at that moment we can clearly see all the options in front of us. We can see the possible paths our next life will take if we choose to return, as well as the lessons we still need to learn. But we can also see what awaits us if we choose not to return, if we choose to continue our journey into higher dimensions. One of the most surprising aspects of this book is that it suggests that many souls choose to return not only for their own growth, but for love. Yes, love. The text speaks of a concept known as soul contracts, agreements we make with other souls before reincarnating. These contracts are promises to help each other in our respective lessons. For example, we may make a contract with a kindred soul to meet in the next life as friends, family, or even adversaries, all for the purpose of helping us grow and evolve. This concept of soul contracts invites us to rethink the nature of our relationships in this life. And if the most important people in our lives aren't there by chance, and if even those with whom we've had difficult conflicts, those who have caused us pain or suffering, are actually playing a role in our spiritual growth, the book asks us to consider that every encounter, every relationship, and every experience we have has a purpose, even if we don't understand it at the time. But like everything in this process, the final decision is ours. If we feel that we have learned what we need to learn in this life, we can choose not to return, and in that case what awaits us is something extraordinary. The book mentions that for those souls who choose not to reincarnate, there are a number of higher planes of existence that they can explore. These planes are described as realms of light, love, and knowledge, where souls continue their spiritual evolution in a state of peace and harmony. Here the duality of physical life, that constant struggle between good and evil, suffering and pleasure, disappears. All that remains is the purity of existence, a direct connection to the divine source, to the universal truth that governs everything. To many, this description of the higher planes may sound like paradise, but the book makes it clear that it is not a place of eternal rest, but rather a state of expanded consciousness, where we continue our learning, but in a deeper way and less limited by the constraints of matter. It is as if, instead of learning through physical experience, we are learning directly through universal knowledge and wisdom. Here, souls can choose to become other souls who are still in their process of evolution. Others, instead, may choose to simply exist in this state of enlightenment, enjoying the peace and harmony of being in complete communion with the divine source. Most strikingly, this book suggests that all of us, without exception, are destined to reach these higher planes eventually. No matter how many lives it takes, no matter how many mistakes we make, we are all on a journey into the light. Reincarnation, then, is but a tool on this journey, an opportunity to continue learning and growing until we are ready to transcend the duality of physical life and join eternal truth. But as I mentioned at the beginning, there is a final revelation, an even deeper truth that this book has in store for us. In the last few minutes of this video, I will reveal what, according to this text, is the ultimate purpose of all existence. It's such a powerful truth that once you understand it, it will forever change the way you view life, death, and everything in between. Now we have reached the climax of this enigmatic book. We have spoken of death as a transition, of the process of detachment, of spirit guides, of the intermediate state, and of the possibility of reincarnation. We have also explored the higher planes of existence, those realms of light and knowledge, where souls continue their spiritual evolution. But now is the time to unveil the deepest that this book has to offer us, the ultimate purpose of all existence. According to the mysterious book, the purpose of life, death, and everything we experience in the endless cycle of reincarnations and learning is reunification with the source. This source is described as the origin of everything that exists, beyond time, space, and the dimensions we can comprehend. It is the core of creation, the home to which all souls, without exception, are destined to return. And herein lies a profound revelation. We are fragments of that same source. By living, dying, and reincarnating, we are on a journey to remember our true divine nature. Let's think about this for a moment. All life, all the universe, All matter and energy are manifestations of this source. From the smallest particle to the largest star in the cosmos, everything is permeated by this divine essence. And each of us, each individual soul, is a spark of that immense light. But at some point, at the origin of creation, we choose to separate ourselves from that unity. We venture into duality, into material life, with a single purpose: to experience, learn, and eventually remember who we really are. The book leads us to an incredibly powerful reflection. All the suffering, all the joys, all that we experience in our lives, is but part of a cosmic game, a journey back to the awareness of our own divinity. In this sense, death is nothing more than a door that we repeatedly pass through, a portal that takes us back to the core of our essence. But the journey doesn't end there. As we continue to reincarnate, as we continue to learn and evolve, we slowly begin to remember the truth, that we were never really separated from the source, we had simply forgotten it. The concept of karma and reincarnation. Karma is described as the energy we generate through our actions, thoughts, and emotions. It is emphasized that reincarnation is not mandatory, but a conscious choice. After death, souls go through a process of review and reflection to decide their next step. Some choose to reincarnate to learn more lessons or help others, while others advance to higher planes of existence. The decision to reincarnate and the role of spirit guides. At death, souls receive guidance from spirit guides, who show them their possible paths. You can visualize the results of a future life if you decide to return. You can also choose to move forward without returning to physical life. Many souls choose to reincarnate out of love, not just for personal learning. Soul contracts and the purpose of relationships. The concept of soul contracts is introduced, agreements between souls to help each other in their lives. Key relationships in our lives, even conflicting ones, can be part of these arrangements. It is suggested that every experience has a purpose in our spiritual growth, the higher planes of existence and the evolution of the soul. For those who choose not to reincarnate, there are realms of light, love, and knowledge. On these planes, the duality of physical life disappears. Instead of learning by physical experience, universal knowledge is accessed directly. Some souls choose to help others in evolution, while others exist in a state of enlightenment. The ultimate purpose: reunification with Source. The ultimate goal of all souls is to reunite with the Source, the origin of everything. All of existence is a journey to remember our true divine nature. The entire universe is permeated with this divine essence, and each soul is a fragment of it. Life and death are part of a cosmic process to attain this consciousness. Not all souls remember this truth at the same rate, but eventually they all awaken. The role of spiritual teachers and the expansion of consciousness. Souls who have awakened may choose to return to physical life for a different purpose. Instead of learning, they return to guide others in their own awakening process. They become spiritual teachers who light the way for those who are still searching for answers. These souls impact those around them, often without even realizing it. Conscious reunification and the role of each soul in creation. Existence is not just a cycle of reincarnations, but a journey of expansion and return home. Source itself evolves with each returning soul, enriched by its experiences. We all participate in a divine process of ongoing creation. Remembering our true nature gives us power to shape our reality. Final reflection on the spiritual journey. It invites us to reflect on how we would live if we knew that we were fragments of the divine. The idea is raised that everything we experience is part of a larger plan. It is encouraged to share thoughts and continue on the path of spiritual awakening. Even as the video ends, each person's journey moves on, and the answers might be closer than we imagine.